Same lady that's in the new elevators at the county office.
She has the voice of an angel.
There you go.
I haven't taken a ride yet, huh?
And that's what you're gonna need when you get into the new elevator.
It's not
On
any,
your shoulder.
it looks pretty, but it's not any quicker.
They don't know, it's still hydraulic. It's like-
Oh, God.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Ulster County Transportation Council's November meeting. October? You do not have to do with welcome and introduction.
We can, no, that's technical committee meeting.
So we'll skip the welcome and introductions. Before I start, I just want to make sure that kind of a first timer doing all of our notices. Did anyone have a problem with notices of materials? Anybody not get a notice? Anybody have any problems getting the materials? If you would, I'd appreciate a comment back to us.
I'm not sure I got the materials, but it may have went to spam, I don't.
Hearing none, we'll move on. Call for citizens' comments. There's no one in the room. Is there anyone online?
Leanne Thornton?
Yeah, am I unmuted?
Yes, you have the floor, Leanne.
Oh, okay. I had a couple of constituents who live over in the Berkeley Heights area. Within the last 3 months, Simmons Street that comes out onto 9W, along with the side road that leads into the plaza, there's been several really bad accidents there, one actually involving a state trooper. And people are running the stop sign at the end of Simmons Street and the end of Mountain View Avenue. They're just breezing right through it. And I was over there over the weekend and I saw a couple of people go right through. So I don't know if there's some way, I mean, the people who live in that area would like to have a stoplight, but since there's already a stoplight, not even a half a mile up the road, I don't know that that's practical. But if there's some way that DOT can, you know, maybe put larger stop signs or some other kind of markers to let people coming out Simmons Street and out Mountain View Avenue know that they need to stop. It's right across the street from Catleonato's law office, that complex. And with the area going it back by the bowling alley that was closed off, there's a lot more traffic coming out of the plaza by the bank. And as I said, there's been at least a half a dozen really serious accidents there in the last few months. And I know the one resident that spoke to me had already been to the police department about it. And the police basically said, it's a state road issue. It's not something that the town would be doing. So I just want to put it on the radar that there is some real concern of folks in the neighborhood there that live on those side streets. And it's that 9W Simmons, Mountain View Avenue and the road coming out by the plaza. So I just told them I would bring it to traffic committees, just information for you.
Thanks, Leanne. It would be helpful, I think. That's still in the town, as I recall. It's not the village.
Yes,
So
it's town.
The town would write us a letter. And,
Okay.
CC the department and I'll leave it at that for now. But
All right, very good. And I also want to let you know that we do have a meeting set up with Senator Hinchy's office and a representative to find out why we did not get our TAP grant. We've got that in the works. So when we find out what the rationale was behind us not getting that grant approved, I'll let you know, okay?
Okay. We have gone through a similar thing with the county staff grant as well.
Okay.
It's a debrief with the region. All right. Any other citizens' comments? Any other comments from the board members? Hearing none, I'll move to item 3 on the agenda, the approval of the August 27th, 2024 technical committee meeting summary. We have a motion for discussion.
I'll motion it.
Thank
This
you.
is
Who was that?
Dave left.
Thanks, David. Appreciate that. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Fine is second. I have David and Mr. Fine. Any objections? Any hearing none?
The screen is completely. Can everyone hear us? Sorry, we've been having some connection issues.
Right. No,
Yeah, you it keeps showing low network capacity, Brian.
Is it working for you? No, you got nothing? Oh, I'm gonna restart.
Good morning, everyone. We lost the connection. We're very sorry about the technical issues that we're facing right now, but we're gonna slowly bring everything back online and hope for the best and try to limp our way through the meeting. Just one moment. Looks like you three people waiting room.
When we did the bridge, we had the elbow
Right.
system, totally paperless. It was very. high.
Welcome back, everyone.
Two representatives from the company
We
on
are
the
bringing
job.
things back online. Just please stand by for a few moments. We're just having some
Just
technical
Going through all the
difficulties.
stuff,
One
make sure it
moment, please.
works.
Okay, I think we can probably bring the meeting back to order.
Printed out certain
Dennis,
sections.
would you mind taking over? Just bear in mind, everyone, the projector went down in our room, so we can't see everyone. I can see everyone, but just please keep that in mind and we'll try to get through everything this morning.
So we're at item 3 on the agenda. And that was the approval of the August 27, 2024 technical committee meeting summary. I had a motion from Supervisor Placzek and a second by Ed Pine with respect to that. Do I have any objections recorded?
None.
No objections. Any abstentions? Thank you. The minutes are approved. Brian, communications and announcements.
I have several communications for members. I believe it was late last week, UCTC and MPOs throughout the state received the STIP update guidance. This is the October 25th to September 2029. I'm sorry, October 25 to September 2029 STIP update will begin immediately. So we will forward this update guidance to members. I'm going to be in the process of updating the UCTC tip page to include this information for members of the public, as well as along with the guidance, which identifies the method for updating the tip. Our fiscal targets were provided as well, which indicates the amount of money that the MPOs will have for new projects or for continuing projects. The process going forward will be for the UCTC to create a TIP subcommittee. I will send correspondence out to our members. I would strongly recommend that any local municipality with a project currently programmed on the UCTC TIP to volunteer to sit on the TIP subcommittee. This will provide you with an opportunity to adjust funding levels and schedules as possible for the new TIP update. Any questions?
Hearing none.
Brian?
Anything else, Brian?
Brian?
Yes, yep, John. go ahead.
How does one express their interest to be on this committee?
You can voice your interest right now verbally, and I'll make a note of it. Otherwise, I'm going to be sending notification to our technical committee within the next several days, and members can send me an email that way.
Hey, Brian, this is Dave. You can put me on that.
Okay, great. Thank you, Supervisor. And John, I'm assuming you're volunteering as well.
Someone from Kingston will be on it. Yes.
Very good, very good. The full TIP is due for completion in mid-June of 2025. So regarding the fiscal targets, we're being held flat funding on our surface transportation STBG Flex. source of funding, but we do have significant off-system bridge funding made available to the MPO, over $12 million, I believe.
So why don't we go through that? Why don't we basically indicate if Sandra, if you would, give us an update on where we are on targets, and I know that you provided them to the MPO, and we'd appreciate that if you would update us. I know putting you on the spot a little bit.
Yeah, I didn't bring the
Okay.
numbers. with me.
Brian, you have them, right?
I
But I
have
would
been,
mention, this is one thing I would like to mention, because this is probably the biggest, to me, this is the biggest change, is that Ulster County is receiving a portion of HSIP funding, which is new. And I know that was a fund source that was of significant interest to you folks a few months ago. So I thought you'd be excited to see that.
We did, we saw that.
Absolutely.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hopefully, there's some good projects out there for that.
so the process that for adding new projects to the TIP is not yet determined. That's essentially the big takeaway at this point in time, but we'll start to clear a path forward. For the update.
So I'm gonna take a stab at what the numbers were, but STP Flex, STBG,
Yes.
yeah, thank you, Flex, was $1 million a year over 5 years. The HSIP funds, I believe, was in the $160,000 to $170,000 range, again, over 5 years. The bridge funding was for all system bridges was in the neighborhood of about $12 million for the 5-year period, as I call it. So those are the numbers. We'll get them out to you so you have them. But when you start looking at TIP updates, there's not a lot of money to program given the increase in costs in some of the other projects that are out there. There's also there's one other source of money, and I'm forgetting it. But those are
The carbon reduction
Thank you,
funds,
Brian.
there's a small amount of carbon reduction
Small
funds in
amount of
addition to
carbon.
what we already have as our sub allocation.
So that's that in a nutshell with respect to the ability to call for projects. Seems to be limited with respect to the amount of funding we have available, with the exception of the off-system bridge fund.
And something else that you might want to consider, because they did this in Orange County, and I thought it did kind of work well, is that they also had quite a bit of unprogrammed off-system bridge. And what they did was they actually used the ranking and the applications from the most recent Bridge New York
Yep.
round.
Yep.
To, piggyback off of that, which I thought was really brilliant because so many municipalities put so much effort, into those applications. They're vetted, ranked, something for your subcommittee to consider.
Do you have copies of all those applications?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, we do. We have
Yeah,
those.
yeah.
Okay, all right,
Yeah,
thank
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So that's a great suggestion.
Oh, good.
Appreciate that.
Oh, good. Okay.
Any comments on communications and announcements from board members?
I'm seeing none right now, and that was the only communication I had at this time.
Brian, one last thing that came up in the last update is that the way that we did, you have roll-in, right? For that
Right.
first year
Yeah.
and you're in charge. Okay. Any projects that are currently in the current federal fiscal year, if they don't get delivered, they just go with their funding into next year. Okay?
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about finding offsets for those, or, hopefully they all get delivered this FFY, but in the rare chance that they don't, they just go with their money, okay?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for that. That was the other
And
thing.
and I may have some more questions for the region as I start to roll out our announcement and our process for updating the TIP, and I know that you and your staff have always been very helpful.
Oh, yeah, Ally and Nicole will be on your subcommittee. So,
Great.
Yeah,
So please look for that correspondence from UCTC. It will announce the initiation of the TIP and request volunteers to sit on that subcommittee.
Communications and announcements going for the last time. Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to new business. Item A, draft UCTC resolution 2024-11, amendment to the UCTC federal fiscal year 2023-2027 transportation improvement program to add New York State Department of Transportation project PIN number 8LC211 as shown in attachment attachment 1. Excuse me. May I have a resolution for discussion purposes, please? Anyone? Online.
A motion for discussion?
So moved.
Supervisor Quigley?
Thank you, Supervisor Quigley. Do I have a second?
Yeah, I'll second it, just Dave.
Leonard? Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Supervisor.
I have a motion and a second. Brian?
Draft resolution 2024-11 seeks to program state and federal funds for the purpose of culvert replacements in Orange and Ulster counties. Any addition to the UCTC TIP requires UCTC technical committee approval, 15-day public notice, and then finally UCTC policy committee approval. Sandra, if you wouldn't mind, would you do you have any further explanation to add regarding the projects?
No, just that, you know, statewide, there's been a big push to, replace, rehab a lot of our larger culverts. And this came out of, us starting to inspect the culverts a few years back. So, yeah, but I can get anyone more information on the 2 culverts in Ulster if interested.
In the tip strip description, it's US Route 44 over the 12 Skill Creek. And then it says various municipalities throughout Orange and Ulster counties.
Yeah, the total is 6.58 million.
Yeah, I think there's-
6.658 million.
I'll go back and check, but I'm pretty sure that it's, the 213 and the Route 44 culverts that are in Ulster.
Any questions? Brian, anybody on?
I see no questions online though.
Hearing no questions, any opposed? No one's opposed. Do I have any abstentions? No abstentions, so carried. Thank you very much.
You.
Item B on the agenda. Draft UCTC Resolution 2024-12, amendment to the UCTC Federal Fiscal Year 2023-2027 Transportation Improvement Program TIP to add a new Ulster County area transit projects as shown in attachment 1. I have a motion for discussion purposes. Anybody online?
So moved.
Please identify.
Quigley.
Thank you, Supervisor. I didn't recognize the voice. Do I have a second?
Second.
Leanne Thornton, thank you, Leanne.
Thank you, Leanne. I have a motion and a second. Brian, discussion?
Yes, similar to the previous resolution for a TIP amendment, these 2 projects were submitted by Ulster County Area Transit to the FTA earlier this summer through their trans application form. These are requests to use federal funds for 2 different grant projects. The first one, shown in attachment 1, is UCTC PIN 8TU020. Federal funds will be applied to the procurement and purchase of 1 battery electric bus to replace a vehicle that has exceeded its useful life. And that is for a purchase of just over $1 million, $1,071,000. And the second component of the grant is shown on page 3, which would be UCTC PIN 8TU021. Federal funds would be applied to the procurement and purchase of 1 35-foot battery electric bus, 3 less than 30-foot transit buses, and 1 support vehicle for Ulster County Area Transit. And the total project cost of that project is $852,000 using federal 5339 state and local funds. These are lapsing funds as well, which is the that they do need to be spent this year, this federal fiscal year.
So the total is about 1.92 million that we thought looking into two. Any comments? Questions?
Participants, I'm not seeing any comments.
No comment or questions? Any opposed?
No hands raised.
Seeing none opposed, any abstentions? Seeing none,
None.
so carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item C, draft UCTC Resolution 2024-13 amendment to the UCTC State Fiscal Year 2024-2025 Unified Planning Work Program to add cost to UPWP Project 44.23.01-01, development of a long-range transportation plan. Have a motion for discussion purposes?
So
I'll make
moved.
There was a motion made by Ed Pine.
And Dave Plapchak will second it.
Thank you.
Supervisor. All right, so this, I'd like to point out that this is a revised, resolution. One moment. Let me just make things at once. And I'll bring up the revised resolution.
Maybe not. I'm afraid you'll lose it, but you can try.
What?
No, never mind. Go ahead.
So the resolution was revised, to, provide further detail. And, I'm bringing that resolution up in front of, on screen now. Are you suggesting that we need another motion from?
No, I'm fine.
Dennis?
I'm fine.
Okay, thank you. So attachment 1 of the resolution 2024-13 shows the first component that we're asking members to review. UCTC, as everyone knows, is short on staff, and we're also updating the long-range transportation plan, which is due for completion September 30th, 2025. We already have FHI Studios, who will introduce shortly after we go through our resolutions to talk about the public engagement process for the LRTP update. But considering that the writing and technical components of the LRTP are typically done by staff, and because we are short on staff, we've decided to add additional costs to this project so that we can hire consultant assistants for the writing of the UCTC LRTP.
Yeah, we were planning on doing this in-house, with staff, and given the workload, particularly with the fact that we have the tip update and several other projects that we need to complete, the thought was that, particularly with respect to the mapping component, which our law staff, when David Stocks was excellent at, the thought was that we needed consultant help to actually finish the fund. And get it completed in a timely fashion. So that's where we are on. That's the reason for hiring an outside consultant. It's not preferable, but we don't see a way around that.
So draft resolution 2024-13 is somewhat incomplete. We have initiated an RFP through Ulster County Purchasing, requesting that technical expertise. And we know that we've received 4 proposals from purchasing. All of our RFPs are always a qualifications-based procurement process. So we do not consider cost as a primary factor when we do the selection. So we're unaware of what the costs are, but we did ask purchasing to provide us the range of cost proposals. So we do know that that range is between 65,000 and that was the low range was 65,000. And then the high range was 160,000, I believe, in that ballpark. There was a there was a fourth proposal that came in. It was an outlier, well above what we would ever be able to afford. So I think we can, we'll have to review that when we can get our eyes on it. But so we know there's a reasonable range of 65,000 to 160,000, which is definitely within the realm of possibility. On attachment 1 of the resolution at the bottom, you'll notice there are FHWA project balances that are available for internal offset. These are 3 projects that we do not intend to initiate during the state fiscal year on the UPWP. The local road safety planning, the Route 4455 corridor management plan, and the complete streets planning projects. Together, we have set aside $225,000. So the approach would be to take funds off of those projects and then program them to the LRTP process. That would be an internal offset, so it does not increase the total FHWA budget for this state fiscal year.
And I would just point out that the local road safety planning program, we do have a grant application in under the Protect grant.
No, it's the
Safe Streets for All, I'm sorry, under the Safe Streets for All grant, that would not necessitate using direct MPO funds should that grant be awarded. So the other thing is by moving this money off of the state fiscal year doesn't mean these projects disappear. As we look at our staffing situation and move forward, when we update the UPWP and provide guidance for a new UPWP for state fiscal year beginning in April, these projects could be reconsidered for inclusion in that. But what we're trying to do now with this resolution is have the council's technical committee authorize us to by resolution, amend the UPWP for a set amount not to exceed probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 225,000, which we have available for offset. And then as we go through the review process and we choose a consultant, we would actually make that final in terms of the next planning committee meeting. When that meets again, we would finalize that amendment to the amount that would be part of that contract.
That's right, and we're reviewing those applications tomorrow. Review committee has been assembled and we'll be reviewing. We don't know if we'll conduct interviews, but the process is already begun.
So you have 100 though, currently in your.
That's right, because
Right.
we have under contract FHI Studio, who's going to give us a presentation in
public
just a
outreach.
few moments
Oh,
to do strictly public engagement.
That's public outreach.
The initial plan was for us to hire consultant assistants for public engagement assistance.
got it.
And now we've decided to add on funds to assist us with technical assistance as well. Writing the document, especially mapping.
Got it.
So any questions on that? I know that sounds confusing and we apologize for that.
I think it's pretty clear.
You've been living with it.
Right. And that's, so that's attachment 1 of the resolution. Then attachment 2 is the second amendment to the UPWP on page 4. In speaking with Lisa Cataldo at New York State DOT Central Office last week, I was informing her of the potential need for this amendment to add additional costs to the LRTP. And she did point out one issue with our current UPWP. There's a new inclusion in the bipartisan infrastructure law called the Complete Streets Set Aside. This is a standalone line item for MPOs. It's a requirement for all MPOs to spend a minimum of 2.5% of our total PL allocation on complete streets planning. We did not include a very explicit or discrete explanation of how we would utilize complete streets planning funds. So this amendment would amend the narrative of the community transportation planning assistance line item task code, would amend it as shown on page 4 at the bottom of the page. It simply changes the narrative, adding the terms that are highlighted in red text on the document. And let me just scroll down online on the screen share. And it also identifies a complete street set aside, which actually, and this is, I'm sorry, a mistake. There is no local share
Yes, I was gonna say.
or state share required for the complete street set aside. It's 100% federal funds of 25,955. So just to clarify and further explain, the complete street set aside is a requirement for UPWP or for MPOs to do complete streets work, at least 2.5% of the funding. I want to point out that a significant amount of work that this MPO does is already complete streets work. We are providing a significant amount of assistance to our municipalities with TAP grant proposals, with information on sidewalk inventories. I provide quite a bit of guidance to the City of Kingston Complete Streets Advisory Committee on developing a sidewalk improvement plan. I mean, the list goes on. The Ulster County Trails Advisory Committee, you could even argue a lot of the safety work that we're doing is really targeted toward vulnerable road users, pedestrians and bicyclists. So a lot of that work gets captured already under community transportation planning assistance. What this amendment really does is it creates a new line item in our timesheets so that staff are specifically billing complete streets work, and now it's being very detailed and documented so that we can account for the 2.5%. And I believe the amount of work that this MPO does will vastly exceed 2.5% when it comes to complete streets.
This is more of a billing code issue than it is essentially a work assignment issue. So we need to build this, and we need a place to bill it, and that's why the amendment's necessary. Any questions on the two amendments to the UPWP?
I see no hands raised online.
Anyone opposed to the amendments?
No hands raised.
Any abstentions?
No hands raised.
Hearing none, so approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So
I need to make one quick change on it though.
yes,
On
thank
the
you.
top,
Yeah.
the top of page 2,
Yeah,
Sure, it's
wrong resolution.
yeah,
number.
a bad habit. Thank you. I will make that change. All of these resolutions are required to be posted for public notice, 15-day public comment period. So that will initiate next week. And we advertise all those public comment and public notices in Hudson Valley 1. Yes, now,
Other old business, item 6, UCTC year public engagement. Raul, I'm not going to pronounce that one. Project manager for FHI Studio is going to make a brief presentation for those of you in the room.
hi,
It'll be
Raul.
very brief.
How are you?
Listen,
Hey everybody, morning, doing well. Good to see
Good
everyone.
morning, Raul. I need to make you a co-host. One moment.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me here today.
So thanks for joining. Our meetings aren't
Yeah.
usually this bumpy, but we lost
All good.
our projector. So, well, the few people that are here in the room can't see you. Everyone online can see you. So
Okay.
let me just, if I may, just give a very brief introduction. Last year, we did a procurement process to find a firm that was capable of providing public engagement services for the update of the UCTC long-range plan. This will be the year 2050 long-range plan, which is required to be updated every 5 years. And FHI Studios it stood out far and wide above all the other proposals that we received. We're very pleased to accept that proposal and get FHI Studio under contract. And we've worked with FHI in the past. It's been some time, but FHI actually was the firm that developed the concept plan for the city of Kingston roundabout over a decade ago. That was before my time, actually. So I'm happy to introduce Raul Irizarry. Can you pronounce your last name for us?
Yeah,
Raul?
you had it right there, Irizarry. You got it.
Irizarry. Okay,
Irizarry.
thank you. I
You
just
got
didn't
it.
want to love it.
Yeah.
Repeat.
Okay.
So the floor is yours, sir. Can you see if maybe if you have a slide deck to share?
Yeah, hold on, give me a second here while I just try to share my screen. Just gonna do- Yes, okay. All right, can you all see that?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Well, yes, thank you, Brian, for that introduction. I'm Raul. I'll be the Community Engagement Project Manager for the Long Range Transportation Plan for Ulster County. I'm excited actually to start kicking this stuff off, but I just have a few slides to go through, not much. It's really just one, introduce myself, introduce what we're doing for the Long Range Transportation Plan on the outreach side. And really like how long that will take. So, and I'll have my contact information at the end here. So you can either take a screenshot or just write that down if you need to reach out to me with any questions. Just here, this is our project team. Marcy is not here with us today. You'll mainly see myself when interacting. I usually go to Marcy with kind of larger questions I have, but Rachel on the right-hand side is the one who's going to be doing our branding and website for the project, which we've already started that initial kind of drafting of those things. Some project and goals and objectives really for what we're trying to do for this project is engage Ulster County residents and the community during the development of the long range transportation plan. So we're going to try to do that with branding, creating project materials and informative communication tools to share with folks, developing a website that's accessible and engaging, and then incorporating feedback that we're hearing from folks into the long range transportation plan and having that ongoing line of communication between the public and folks working on the plan. So right now, like I said, we're working on branding. We're formulating some project names, taglines, and some images that we'll share with Brian soon. We did do also the Dutchess County long range transportation plan. And on the right-hand side, that's just an example of like one of their logos and branding that we created. Part of this will have a website as well, just high-level things on the website. Final long-range transportation plan will be right on the website, be a digital version, and we'll also have ways for folks to interact through like a map or a survey as well. On the right-hand side, you can see the website for Dutchess County, but this website is going to exist on the Ulster County Transportation Council website that currently is there. And on the bottom, you can see our surveys are also mobile compatible. They're actually built mobile first, since a lot of folks access or in the community access the internet through their phones. But we'll also have a regular website page for this. And again, these are just strategies on outreach. So another strategy we have are pop-ups. And this is where, I'm excited to talk to all folks and share my contact information as we develop the outreach efforts and finish with the branding and the website. One way we like to really get input from folks is being out there in the community. So we'd love to know about any future events that you think are really popular within the county that we can attend, where we can pop up, talk about the project, talk to folks. Always willing and get really any help from any of the towns that have kind of really large community events or even small ones. So that could be important. Again, those are just different strategies. I just wanted to introduce myself. Here's my contact information. You can either, write it down here or contact Brian. We'll be meeting every couple of weeks to talk about outreach and engagement efforts. But yeah, I just, again, introduce myself, introduce what we're doing and the different strategies, and I'll leave it open for anyone who has maybe a couple questions, if that's okay. and if we have enough time for that.
Yeah, certainly. Any questions for myself or Raul regarding the kickoff of the LRTP? This is not really the major kickoff of the process. We'll be doing, this is essentially the soft kickoff, and we'll be doing a major announcement once the website is created and we do have our public engagement plan in place. We'll announce it and far and wide and identify very likely a survey and maybe some events that will be scheduled at that time. So there's much more to come in this process, but I wanted to make sure that our technical committee was aware of the process and how we're initiating it. And also the UCTC technical committee will be asked to review drafts throughout the update process as we move toward project completion. We'll have initial drafts available in the spring for review, and so we'll begin to make those available. The UCTC technical committee will essentially be advising staff on this update process. So are there any questions from members? I'm seeing none. So thank you, Raul. I appreciate it very much. And we're really excited to get the projects kicked off. And as you can probably tell, based on my use of technology today and the hiccups that we've had, I'm really looking forward to having someone assisting us with public engagement and any technical issues as well. So thanks for
Definitely.
joining.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited for this, and it's all right. Tech stuff happens, that's the world we live in. And, we just keep rolling. So no, I appreciate you all inviting me here and being able to talk to you all. And again, reach out if you have any questions, for sure.
Wonderful. Thank you.
So the 2020, thank you, Ro. The 2025 UPWP call for planning projects, just a quick explanation, Brian.
Yes, that call for planning projects is now posted online. If you go to the UCTC website under core documents, Unified Planning Work Program, the existing UPWP, which is now open for amendment, as well as the call for planning projects is available. This is a very simple application process. It's a Word document that municipalities can download. Let me just share my screen so that people can clear. So this is the UPW page, and you can download the Word document and open it up. It's a very straightforward application. It is not intended to require consultant assistance from a municipality. If you have a transportation planning need in your municipality, please reach out to us and use the call for planning projects as a resource. And if we feel that there's an explicit need for a planning study, we will certainly look for ways to program it on the UPWP. So this is the first way of doing that.
Thank you, Brian. And then the next topic on that other old business is offsets.
Right, you had asked me to add this to the agenda. This is regarding Tilson Ave. I think this is essentially an issue that probably goes along with the TIP update as well.
And that's what I was going to suggest is that for the supervisor from Lloyd, it's on here that we have an ongoing discussion both with your consultants as well as some of the project sponsors within Ulster County in terms of trying to make sure that we can find the necessary offsets. But given where we are in this process and the anticipated time or before we get to what would be a final number, they're looking at high-low numbers now. We're going to hold off and wait and see, but we're working on the ability to find an offset for you within those high and low numbers that have been provided by your consultants. So next project updates, Brian?
Supervisor, did you have any question or comment at this point?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't unmute myself in time. I guess I'm just curious of what the timeline for that looks like.
So conversations with your consultants is they're expecting that they have at least several months of negotiation with your contractors before trying to find a final number. And once that final number is arrived at, then we can sort of look at the necessary tip amendments that would be needed to help you cover some of those costs. So my sense is that we're probably looking at January and February, rather than what we thought was a need to make these decisions in a much shorter time frame. We can have this offline, Supervisor. I'd be more than happy to give you a call later today.
Yeah, might be good. I'm fine with that as long as I don't get any bills between now and then. I have to.
Yeah, well, you're looking at change orders, so they have to be approved by NISDOT. So that's going to be the time frame that we're likely to see. So I'll give you a call this afternoon and chat. Project updates, Brian?
Thank you. Yeah, there are a number of important project updates. I just want to go back to the UCTC website. I'm going to share that for everyone now. First and foremost is the Town of Ulster Route 9W Corridor Management Plan. We're very pleased to announce that the draft final recommendation plan is now available for public comment and review. We sent that out far and wide about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And so the public can log on to the UCTC ARC Hub page. And there's several different ways to review the recommendations of the plan. You can do the traditional PDF draft report, or you can go to a story map and fly through the corridor and look at the major recommendations and illustrations. And there's also a online presentation that was recorded by the project consultants, essentially providing the PowerPoint presentation of the final recommendations. Once you have an opportunity to review the recommendations, there is a survey that members of the public can provide their feedback through. Public comments don't have to come through the survey. They can be emailed directly to me as well if you have more detailed comments. It certainly is an option. But that's many different ways to participate in the Town of Ulster Route 9W Mobility Plan. The deadline for comments is this Friday. At this point in time, we'll do maybe one extra boost. We've already distributed to the UCTC Technical Committee. There was a good front page article. It was a decent front page article in the Daily Freeman. And I believe our project partners have been forwarding the notification out as well, including the Office of the County Executive. So thank you. That is the Route 9W Mobility Plan. Any questions?
Hey, Brian, can you give me an indication, Supervisor Quigley?
Yeah.
How many comments are you getting? Because I have gotten some comments which I've forwarded to you.
I have not checked recently. Those comments go directly to Creighton Manning. So we'll check in with Creighton Manning later today and get that information to you, Supervisor.
Yeah, and we saw those comments that you sent, Supervisor, concerning the path to the one shopping center.
Yeah, I've been receiving phone calls too. Interestingly enough, in support of a roundabout on the corridor, and against a roundabout on the corridor. So far it's 50-50 on the phone calls that I've received. We'll see. But again, it's good that the public is interested and participating. It's not like it's a yes or no vote or anything like that. We're really just trying to get priority recommendations and reaction from the public. So
Thank you.
thank you.
And on the rail safety study, right?
The rail safety study contract is not finalized. We went out of the contract period it's that transition. So we have initiated a no-cost project extension
And
until that contract is
they would finish up by the end of the year.
correct.
They're proposing to finish up by the end of the year.
Correct. Other project updates, the Human Services Transportation Plan has been completed And finally, the last project update that I'd like to notify you about is the UCAT route optimization plan. This project is very much underway and we'll be beginning to present our initial scenario recommendations on November 13th. I've not notified the public of those dates yet, but that public notification will go out very soon. We'll be doing an open house in person and remote to present those draft scenarios for route optimization.
And the last update I would give you, it's not a project update, it's more of a transit update, is that the 3 county transit agencies, MPOs are looking to do a call for projects for unprogrammed transit funds that we currently have. So that discussion is ongoing. We should have a call out, I would guess, certainly by the end of the year.
Right. And those funds can only be used by designated recipients.
That's correct.
And the only designated recipient is Ulster County Area Transit. So that would not be a call for projects for the public, just to be aware. But we would hope that Ulster County Area Transit would apply for some sort of project.
Yeah. Anything else?
There's one last item regarding the Ulster County Traffic Safety Board. Our meetings are typically held on the first Monday of every month. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for November 4th. I do not know if we'll have that meeting. I have no agenda items pending at this time, but we do notification through the Traffic Safety Board webpage, and it's also notified under the Ulster County legislative calendar. So that's the legislative calendar is the best place to check if you were wondering if there's going to be a meeting held that evening. And I did also want to notify that the Traffic Safety Board has initiated a Be Safe and Be Seen campaign. So we have purchased, with assistance from the UCTC, 300 high-vis vests. I hope the camera can see it there. So that's what we made available. There's a small brochure that we created as well. Right now, I'm working with the Ulster County Executive's Office to determine a method for distribution. I think we're going to identify 5 locations throughout Ulster County, likely town halls, where the public can go pick up a vest or 2 if they're interested, if they'd like one for themselves or a family member. And we want to get those out into people's hands, especially because it's getting darker sooner. The savings ends November 3rd. Halloween is next week. So we want to get these vests out and available to the public. We're really happy to have the assistance of the Ulster County Executive's Office in publicizing this campaign.
Any other project updates? Any other old business? Any members of the council have a discussion on old business that they would like?
I'm seeing no comment.
Anybody in the room? Nothing? Okay. I just want to ask this question even before today's issues with respect to technology. Given the lack of in-person attendance, we were thinking about switching the meeting location back into the county office building. And if that would make things difficult for people to attend, let us know. But we were thinking of either using the legislative chambers and or the Karen Bender Library for those meetings. Makes it easier on staff. There's certainly enough room given the in-person attendance with respect to that. And while I wasn't concerned about technology, we would also have some technology support for Brian in that instance. So the next meeting agenda, which comes out, we haven't scheduled a policy committee member agenda for November of 26. You may see and likely to see a change in location for that meeting to be in the county office building somewhere on the 6th floor at this particular point in time. Any other business for the council? Hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you very much for everybody, and our apologies for the technical glitches.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Senator, quick question.